right, now to Iraq, where al-Qaeda is moving to replace some of its leaders killed in a U.S.-Iraqi raid. The group announced today that the leadership slots left vacant after last month's attack have been filled. So what does this mean for the insurgency? Our Frederick Pleiken is in Baghdad. Fred, what does the change of leadership mean for the insurgency, if anything at all?
Well, it actually is quite significant, Frederica. What al-Qaeda in Iraq and the Islamic State of Iraq have done is the Islamic State of Iraq has announced a new leader and a new deputy. Of course, the Islamic State of Iraq is an umbrella organization under which al-Qaeda in Iraq itself falls as well. Also, on Friday, they announced a minister of war. Now, the interesting thing about all this, Frederica, is that these announcements come almost a month after the U.S. and Iraqi forces killed two senior al-Qaeda leaders. And that's really raised questions here in this country about the organization's capabilities to replenish their ranks after strikes like this. Back in the days, you would see al-Qaeda when some of their leaders were killed, replace those within a couple of days. Now it's taken almost a month, and that raises questions about how capable are they of recruiting people? Are there maybe disagreements within the organization itself? Now, what we've seen, however, from al-Qaeda and Iraq statements that were made is they say that Iraq has some dark and very blood-soaked days ahead of it. So they're announcing basically a new campaign of violence here in this country. And if you look back at the past week, it has been a very deadly one here in this country, where you saw some massive attacks on Friday. Throughout the weeks, there were attacks, the deadliest, of course, happening on Monday, when some 85 people were killed in seemingly coordinated attacks here across this country. So it does appear, even though there were some massive blows to al-Qaeda in Iraq in the past couple of weeks, that this organization still is very capable of launching some very deadly and also coordinated attacks here still in this country, Frederica.
So, Fred, what does this mean when you're talking about a country that's still in this political swirl of uncertainty? Is this country particularly vulnerable right now?
Well, I would think it is. I mean, you're absolutely right. There still is a lot of uncertainty. I mean, you saw elections here in this country in March, and still Iraqis don't know who their next prime minister is going to be. Nouri al-Maliki, of course, started a recount of votes here in Baghdad, and the results from that came in on Friday. And today, we're hearing that there was, in fact, no voter fraud whatsoever, and the results are staying exactly the same way they were before, with Ayad Alawi's party getting most of the votes and Maliki close behind that. The big question that a lot of people here are asking is what sort of government they're going to have. Right now, you have Nouri al-Maliki forming a massive Shiite bloc, also bringing Muqtada al-Sadr, the radical Shiite cleric, into the mix here. And of course, a lot of Sunnis in this country are asking whether or not they might be disenfranchised. And yes, of course, there is a lot of political uncertainty here in this country. When you see the violence, you see these coordinated al-Qaeda attacks across this country, that is something that could further destabilize the place. Right now, it might not be doing that, yes, but with the political uncertainty, certainly there are a lot of Iraqis who are looking at this in a very, very worried manner. And that, of course, could, in effect, also have influence on what the U.S. does in this place. Right now, we're still hearing from the U.S. military they're going to stick by their withdrawal plans. But they, of course, are keeping a very worried eye on the political process and on this violence as well, Frederica.
All right, Fred Pleiken, thanks so much from Baghdad. Appreciate that.